afternoon everyone, how are you all? Thank you for joining me in my studio today. What a busy day, but I'm here and I'm raring to go. I've got some lovely things to show you. Before I start, I just need to do a big shout out to everybody over the last couple of days. It's been absolutely amazing. I need to say thank you to Dawn Wheeler, Carly Duff, the design team and you lovely viewers at home. If I've missed anybody out, I'm just sending a big thank you now. I've been overwhelmed by customers, their comments, the products, the sales, everything. It's just all gone to plan, and you know, sometimes it very rarely happens, so when it all does go to plan, you know, we feel like celebrating. So this evening I'm going to treat myself to a pizza. That's my celebration. So before I crack on with my first demo and get into any more detail, here is a quick demo showing you a little bit of inspiration while I get ready. Have any of you tried that technique from Monday's show? If you have, show us your pictures. We'd love to see what you've been doing, what colours you chose, your composition, everything. I'd love to see it. So if you have made something, pop it on the Eureka fan page and we can have a nosy. That'd be brilliant. So in today's studio, before I go ahead first, my name is Toni Darroch. I'm a guest presenter over on Create and Craft, and we love anything in the studio that's going to help take our minds off day-to-day life and take us to another place, whether that be craft, soft craft, anything we want. This is the right place to be. Full of inspiration, lots of caring, lots of sharing, no negativity, no bad things go on here. It's a fabulous place to be. So make sure you click the subscribe button if you are over on YouTube, and if you are watching on Facebook, don't forget to pop a comment below. This ensures I know I'm doing a good job, and this ensures that if you want to know something, learn something, I can see it and then I can obviously act on it and we can do it all together. Grab yourselves a cup of tea. I've got one demo, but it's one from start to finish. I'm going to be using some new products and I'll run through those with you in a second, and then we've got some more videos to show you in and amongst. So in studio today I am going to use some new products. So I'm going to use today, which is hot off the press, should we say. Well done, Carly, by the way. Knockout shows, so proud of you. And Dawn, of course, both did amazing. These things are not easy to do, so well done. Big pat on the back to you both. So I'm going to be using the Flowers in Your Hair, which is this one here, stamp. I'm going to be using our foliage building elements, and then I'm going to use just the right elements. I'm also going to use the flower, and I'm also going to be using the Creative Card 4. A lot of you will have these products. If you haven't got this specific one or this specific flower, you will have something in your stash that will work. You don't have to have our products, so please don't switch off thinking it's a hard sell. It's not. You know, you will have something in your stash that will work, albeit we love you to buy our products, but we do understand these things cost money. So if you're watching, that's all that matters. Okay, if you do like the products though, you can pop FBL into the search engine on our website and it'll take you to all the products I've used in studio over the last few weeks. Okay, so you don't have to go fishing around. You can spend hours on there if you wanted to. There's lots of stuff on there now, but if you just want the quick shortcut for what you like, you can go and do that. So we're going to use those products. We're also going to be using one of our new paper stacks today. So this is Watercolor Dreams. Basically it's 200 GSM and it's lots of lovely watercolour backgrounds where you can stamp direct onto and it looks like you've created your own watercolour background. I know a lot of people struggle with their backgrounds. In fact, I know a lot of people don't struggle. I know a lot of people are scared to even try them. So if you're not that type of person and don't want to get into inks and try these things, great alternative for you. You can create exactly the same look but with paper. So within the set you get 8 designs, 24 pages, and then you can see on the base here you get a lot of white space, which is fab because that is what happens when you do watercolouring. You get white spaces, it gives instant light and shade. So it's not a full canvas, except I think it's this one here. This has got a little white space in there, this has as well. So I'll just give you a quick flick and then we'll get straight on to our demo. So all of the products are available on our website. This one is going to TV next week. I am on TV next Wednesday, the 16th, with some new products. However, you will see them beforehand because I will be doing a Facebook Live of some form. So we have the pinky purples. I'm not going to spend ages on this because we will revisit it later in the week. Some blues and greens. Lovely. You've seen me using these over the last few months in various demos. I've used it a few times on TV as well. So we've got the pinks, the purples, orange, lovely green tone in there, which is quite unusual. A paler colour, and then your blues at the back there. So lovely paper pad, uncoated, so you can do all the lovely stuff, do your blending, do your heat embossing and do your inking on there. So I'm just going to set this one aside. And before I get into the first demo, I just want to show you this. So this is a lovely IMALA stamp that was used today on Create and Craft TV. However, I just wanted to show you this because a lovely lady made me this called Michelle today, and she gave it to me and it's absolutely beautiful. Can we see that there? This is obviously our Creator card die, which is the large one, and it is the one we're using in studio. It is Creator card 4. And she's stamped the IMALA, she's coloured this in pens, which is fab, isn't that just beautiful? But we'll check this out, this is where it's really cool. Look at that! How cool is that? So thank you so much, Michelle. It's a beautiful card. Treasure it forever. It's a beautiful card. Thank you so much. So I'm going to do my take on this card, and the inspirations obviously come from Michelle today. So thank you, Michelle. So I'm just going to set that one aside. And let's crack on. So don't forget, we always make our videos into 1:30 30s, so you can cut out me talking. So, because sometimes you just want to get straight to demo, I understand that, and see what's going on, so you can maybe repeat, change, chop, do whatever you want to do. So don't forget that. They normally go on the following day, and I do try and post them as often as I can. Right, so I just have my scoreboard here, and I have 2 of the creative card, can't get my words out today, Creative card 4, and I've used the largest die, which is this one. I'll just show you on the board because they are big. So if you have purchased any of these, just one, this technique will work with whatever you've purchased, okay? You don't have to have this specific one. So I'm using I've used the largest die on here, and I'll just show you, look. So I cut 2 out of blue cardstock, and you get this beautiful faux stitch all the way around, which gives some extra dimension rather than it just being a blank card. So let's go ahead and create our card. So I'm going to create a top folding note card. So I'm just going to pop this onto my scoreboard, and I'm just going to score. Now I could score halfway down if I wanted to. There is no right or wrong way where you're going to score these. So just make sure you've got enough for a decent enough hinge to carry the weight of your card. So I'm going to go with 1.5 inches on there. Give it a good old score on that line. There we go. And this is going to create, oops, sorry, it's loud. This is going to create our lovely card blank. So on that score line, I'm just going to tuck it in. So we're going for a coloured card today. And I'll just give that a good old push down. And what we're going to do is we are going to pop some glue on the back of here. And we're going to stick this one on top. And it will give us our freestanding shaped card. Just pop a bit of glue on there, enough to secure it. And then to get it to make sure it lines up perfectly, I always line it up at the bottom. Just turn it sideways, see if that'll help. I always line it up at the bottom, make sure it's absolutely straight, match it up best you can. And then as you go up the card, go down and just make sure that little hinge is pushed in. And then give it a good old push down. If you keep both hands on your card, you can make sure your card stays a lovely shape and you've not got one like twisted over. So I'm just going to give that a second to grab. Yep, it's grabbing fine. So I'll just keep pushing down for now. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set that aside. I'm just going to put something heavy on top of it to make sure it doesn't pop out of place, and then we can move on to the next stage. So the next stage of our card, take this off, is the same idea. So I've got exactly the same die that I used to create my base on my card, and I've got some of the lovely watercolour background paper. And today, you know, I do go for the pinks. I'm not really a pink person, but for some reason I always go for the pinks. So today we are going for the mustard colour and the blue, and I think it's going to really help this card pop. So I've just cut a piece out of one of the 12 by 12 sheets, so you can see here what sort of design you've got going. It actually looks like a sky, doesn't it? So you could stamp some silhouettes on there, and it would truly look like you've painted a sky. Because it's uncoated, nobody'd ever know that it's a piece of pattern paper, not at all. So same die, I'm just going to pop it face down onto my plate. I'm going to try and get a lot of this blue if I can, because it's got beautiful white spaces there and that looks like I've painted it. So I'll line that one up, and we'll use our other plate and we'll run it through our machine. So I'm using cut and boss today. These big dies do need to go through your larger die cutting machines. They don't go, the smaller ones in the set, these few here, these do go through your snap, but here, from here onwards, have to go through an A4 die cutting machine. So please don't buy them if you don't have an A4 die cutting machine. I would hate for you to get them and not be able to use them. And we have this like beautiful, and it's got all the lovely stitch detail in there too, which is fabulous. So let's just set that one aside. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to create a frame within a frame. And I'll show you just how I'm going to do that right now. So I'm just grabbing a piece of the lovely coloured cardstock in blue. So because we're going to use two dies on this occasion, we are going to have to tape them down. So I want a lovely border around my card. So you could go, let me just show you, if you went the next size down, which is in the set, you'd end up with a really, really thin border, but I want quite a chunky border. So I'm going to jump straight from that one and let's try this one. And if I'm happy with the width of the border, no, let's go one smaller. And this is a great thing about these dies. You know, you're not governed by a couple of dies. You've got so many sizes in here. You can actually go to town and create as many borders and things as you like. So because I'm using two dies, I am going to tape it down. Make sure my plate's straight. So first of all, I'll take the large die down first, then I know that's not going anywhere. And then the next one we'll take within. So this is the one that counts. So this is the one you're going to have to try and get as straight as possible if you can. And just be mindful, your tape does need to be low tack, 'cause it'll probably take hard otherwise. That might happen on this occasion, but I'm going to go with it, see what happens. So let's run this through. So this is going to create the lovely panel which is going to frame our artwork. See if our card's dry. Oh, look at that. Freestanding card, which is cool. So I'll just get rid of these dies off here. And then you get this beautiful light border. Can we see that there? So this is going to frame our artwork. Just leave that in there for now. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring our lovely watercolour. You're probably all thinking, where is this going? It'll soon come to fruition, I promise. So let's just try and tidy up a little bit because I've got a lot going on at the moment. So let's grab a Eureka. Crikey. And we're going to bob this inside our Eureka. And this is where we're going to use the lovely flowers in your hair stamp. But you know, you can use all of my stamps that you've purchased in the past. You don't have to use this one, or might have a stamp in your stash that you're thinking, oh, that would look amazing in that aperture, like our rose stamps from last week. I know a lot of you bought those. They would work amazingly as well within this aperture. So you can see how big this stamp is. It's nearly 8 by 8. So I'm just popping it on there, line my artwork up, make sure it's straight, make sure the stamp is straight. And then I'm just going to pick up the stamp. I'm just going to ink it up in black. So I'm using, on this occasion, a black Memento ink, not for any other reason than I haven't got my Versamark here. It's still in my kit bag, but because I'm not going to be watercolouring, I'm okay with it. Okay, if you were watercolouring, you would absolutely need your waterproof ink. So lots of light taps all over the stamp. Give it a push down. And because I'm obviously using the Eureka, if I don't get it quite right or I've missed a little area, I can go back in and make sure it's covered. Gonna go it again. I want this to be super black if I can get it super black. So let's see how we do with our second time round. Hey, we're getting there, look, she's slowly getting darker and darker. I'm going to do it one more time and then we'll leave it as is. Now if you wanted to give her a glossy finish, you could throw some clear embossing powder over her and make her super shiny if you wanted to. Make sure I get all that detail. There we go. It actually looks like she's got a streak of tan down her face. It's actually creating a little bit of a nose. So let's set this one aside and let's move on to the next stage of our card. leave that one to dry for a second. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use our lovely elements that I showed you from earlier. So we have the foliage elements and the flower elements, and we're just going to cut some flowers. Now we're going to create a beautiful bouquet. So I have this one out already. Let's get my scrap, my leftover from stamping the lady's head. So I'm just going to cut this down. Maybe get them both on there. So because it's got the beautiful blue in there, it will coordinate beautifully with this frame. Look, can we see how it's complementing it? Really, really lovely. So I'm just going to pop them both on there like so. Now, I'm not going to cut one of them ones because I've already got one of them cut, but I am going to cut some of these little ones. So we'll go with that one. I'll cut some of the flowers too, I think. Cut a big flower. We'll cut a small flower. As you can see, I'm picking up the white and the blue, so it'll give my flowers texture. Might as well go with this one while we've got it out. If we don't use it, it doesn't matter. And that's it really. I'll get rid of that one. Put that one on there too. Make sure you tape them down though, guys. You just never know, and it is just my luck. The first time I don't tape them down is the first time I embarrass myself and ruin my dies myself. In fact, whilst we've got this piece of scrappy, I may as well cut this one too. We never know, we might use it. So I'm going to run all of this through together. Whilst I'm running this one through and getting myself ready to prep the card together, I'm going to show you another little video with some more inspiration whilst this is running through the machine. Here you go. So much inspiration, hey? So I hope you like what you see. We do try our utmost best to give you as much inspiration in a variation of every different manner of craft. So there might be something that you absolutely love, fingers crossed. So I've run it through. I'm just taking the plate off here, and then let's get all of our elements out. They're absolutely huge, these elements, by the way. So have to be one of my favourites, I have to say. So just set this aside. And you get like a leaf, a smaller one, a lovely big one. And this is what I was saying about the two-tone. Because you've got those white spaces, you get this sort of effect which you wouldn't traditionally get with just some pattern paper. I absolutely love this paper. You've seen me using it loads. This is actually my second pad. I'm on to my second pad, I've used it that much. And then we've got these lovely like embellishments. And we've got a little feather. Here we are, look. So let's start putting some of this together so you can see where I'm going with this card. So let's go. So ahead of time I did this one here. So this is already got about 5 layers on here, I would say. And what I did was I also cut one of them in the navy colour too. So basically that's given a little bit more depth, so it's all not getting lost within itself. I added that little bit of navy in there too. 1, to make it coordinate, and 2, so it all don't blend into one big blob basically. So you can see that there, the detail in the dark blue there, which I think is quite nice. Whether it works or not is another matter, but you know, I do like to try these things. And then I've done the same with a littler one too. So I did 2 of the like watercolour papery ones, then a blue one, and let's build this up with what we've just cut through our die cutting machine now. So this lovely blue one that we've just done, I'm just going to pinch the ends of the flower to give them some dimension. Now if you've got your ball tools and you are actually into all this stuff, you will have the correct equipment to create some realistic flowers. Now my realistic flowers go as far as twisting the ends with my fingers, unfortunately, but I do like the results I get, and it's down to personal preference. So let's bob some glue in here, just a little dot, we don't need a lot, and then we'll just bob this one on top. It's starting to look like a pom-pom, it's that big. So I'll twist it around a little bit, but I'm sure it'll finish the card beautifully. So I'll stick that down. That's stuck okay, so I'll just set that aside. And then with this one, with that little bit of blue in, I'm just going to do the same thing, give the ends a pinch. Maybe push them up a little bit. So you get this sort of like cup effect really. See that there? And we'll stick this in the centre of this one, because I don't want that blue to be too prominent. Give that a second to grab, and then so with the lovely gems, it's the moonstone ones I'm using that look like water drops, so I'm just going to use one of those in the centre. Can't tell my son's that old for these, can you? Pop this in the centre, and then we've got our 2 lovely like flowers. So this one's not as full as this one, but I think it looks better when you don't do them identical. It looks a little bit more realistic. And then we have all our lovely embellishments. So I've twisted the ends of these, pinched them in my finger, and on these 2 I've actually feathered the edges with my blade. So all I did was I got my blade and I just made them a little bit more distressed, vintage, what's the word I'm looking for, I'm not quite sure, but it just gives it a bit more of a different texture. And it's always good to have texture in your projects because it draws your eye to many areas. So let's get this card constructed. So our beautiful lady, so we cut this exactly the same size as this, so this will sit direct on top of here, hiding all of our makings here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I'm scared if we put glue on there it's going to show through, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for tape. It'll be personal preference at home though, so in fact I will bob glue on as well, just so I know it's not going to budge. Pop it around the edge. And then I'm going to stick this direct on top of this size here. So try and get it lined up best you can. It don't really matter if you're not perfect with it though guys, because our frame's going to hide a lot of it. So just stick that down. So we've got like our lovely card with the lovely lady on the front there already. And then we've got our lovely frame, which I'm going to put some pads behind and raise. So I'm using the black foam pads from Create and Craft. Now, black is amazing. you can't hardly see them. But I have to say, these pads stick to your fingers like you cannot imagine, and they go all over. So it's down to preference. If you don't want them stuck to your fingers and your fingernails, use white ones. For some reason, every single black pad I get sticks to everywhere but where it needs to go. So just be mindful of that. So I've just gone down the 6 straight edges there. Now you could pop a little one in each one of those here. So what you need to be mindful of is we're going to be building a wreath on here, or a bouquet. So when I come to put this around, I'm going to build something here. So I know I need something here to carry that weight, or else it'll just sink. So what I'm going to do with my sticky pads is I'm going to build one there as well to carry that weight. And then that'll be in the left hand corner where I'm going to build the bouquet. I'm just going to sit this perfectly on here. Excuse the head. We've framed our artwork, can we see that there? So it's a lovely, it looks like a picture frame now. And this is where you could pop the lights in and around if you wanted to, like Michelle has in there. They're just some inexpensive LED little lights in there. So if you wanted to do that, you could. She did say to me, Michelle, would you like some LED lights so you can do it? I'm like, that's a bit fancy for me. It'll probably go horribly wrong. So no thank you, sweetheart. She's like, oh, okay, don't worry about it, but it's really easy. I said, I know it's easy, but under pressure, it's it's a bit of a strain. So I said, you keep your lights. She says, I'll make you another one. I'm like, that's very kind, thank you. Oh. So we have our lovely card with the frame, and it stands beautifully, look. No worry, it's very clean, you know, and I like clean lined cards. So let's build up how we're going to make this card stand out from the crowd. So if this is going to be on your mantelpiece, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, that is a beautiful card, simply because it's a different shape to start with, and secondly, the colours are not your traditional card colours. So what I always do is I always build first before I go ahead and glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay these down first, and we'll see where we're going with it. And then when I've popped it on and I'm satisfied, it could come a little higher. Just bearing in mind, these spikes, your card needs to sit on the table, so don't obviously protrude over your bottom, your base of your card. Okay, so let's just go with that for now. And I'm just sticking these ones flat. I'm going to go quite high on this one. I'm just going to drop it in there. And I like the fact that it sinks into the image as well and stays onto the frame too. I quite like that, so you can do what you want though, you know that. And then this one we're going to stick across the bottom a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to go with that one. I think that'll be okay, just with those little points on the edge. And then this one, let's pad this one. And I'm just going to go with the stickiest pads in the world. And I'm just going to pop this over this edge a little bit. I don't want to be right in this image, because then we're going to lose the lovely lady. So I am going to just pop it straight on this edge here. So So you could leave that as is if you wanted to, but because I've done it, let's see if it'll look okay. You're all screaming at the camera going, don't do it, don't pop it on, you're going to spoil it. Let's just do it, hey, you know, it's a card. It's a card. I'm sure you'll all let me know if you've liked it or not. So I'm just going to take the backing off this. I'm going to fold it in half, double pad it so this one will be high, pop it behind. How's it looking? I think that looks okay. And then just with your extra embellishments, just to add dimension, you could just, can you see that there? That's just, it's probably difficult for you to see there on camera, but if you just add them on top of, not if you start doing this, you're going to lose all of your image, but if you add them on top, it makes it look more realistic. And you can pop in as many or as little as you like. So I'm just going to add some gems to this one because I think the lady needs to sparkle. So I'm just going to get the clear silver ones, the part clear, part glittered. So they're like clear, but they've got a sprinkling of glitter in there. So I'm just going to use these just to, I mean, you could pop them in all the heads of the flowers in here, but I'm just going to simply pop them around her face and her hair, just to add that sparkle. Some around the flowers, and you could just pop a little banner in there with a happy birthday wish or something in there. You could actually even stamp direct onto the image if you wanted to. I don't think there is a right or wrong way. Pop that in the centre of that flower. You can never have too many jewels. Pop them in the centres of the flowers, which allow me. Pop them in that one, and I think we'll leave as is. So there we go. Just tidy my station, so I'll just show you. Don't know if you can see that. So looking at my card, I'm a little bit upset that I've got this like tone of colour going down here. If I'd have known, you know, I would have offset her a little bit so that browny orangey colour wasn't through her face. It's a little bit distracting, is that? But obviously you at home, I've told you now, I made the mistake, you cannot make sure you don't make the mistake. But it's a beautiful card, and it'll stand proud on your side. You know, people are going to be like, that is a stunning card. You know, you don't have to do it in blue either, you could do it in any colour you wanted to. So I hope you've liked the demo. It was from start to finish. As you can appreciate, it's been a busy day. We've been up and down to Peterborough like you cannot imagine, but I hope this card has given you a lovely afternoon. So whatever you're doing, stay safe and stay cosy. I'm back with you live on Monday for my own studio. Please don't forget though, Claire is with you tomorrow. She has a Thirsty Thursday where she will be launching maybe some new products, maybe some of her earlier products to showcase how you can get the most out of them. So just enjoy your evening, guys. Put your feet up and have a great time. Don't disappear though, because there's a little bit more inspiration before we actually go offline. Take care. Bye.